What is up? I'm Annabelle Hasselbeck here with Casey Hudson, and this is Respect Her Game, and I'm so excited to welcome on Kat Ellis, sportscaster and creator of Out of His League. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to have a little girl party
today. I know. We had a good little girl game. We had a good little chit chat beforehand. We are a local Mass girl, so super excited to have you in the Nesson studio. But I know we're going to talk hockey, media, and all things. But first, it's a summertime, so what's been the most fun part of your summer so far?
The lack of hockey. The lack of I hate to say it, hockey took my life into June this year, and I'm like, I don't want to see a stick until training camp starts. Keep them away.
I feel like that's one of the cool parts about like the honesty of it, because it's such a grind, and like
such a grind.
You're back and forth for one.
Yeah.
You were in Colorado for like enjoying the rest of the hockey season that took you into June. So like, how do you pivot that hat of like you are in content creator mode and then you're in like supporting mode, but like hockey is your life in a lot of ways?
Yeah, it's kind of like a day by day, take it by every play that I get kind of thing. Yeah, and I like usually separate the two of being like a supportive girlfriend to my boyfriend who plays hockey and like my job as a content creator. But then we had a little bit of overlap in playoffs. They mic'd me up for a game, and I was like, oh my God bless all the family members that ever do that. That was a one and done. Like the whole time I was just like, the Boston in me was coming out. I was like, you guys are gonna have to bleep this whole thing. But it was
extra
so
editing
fun.
on their hands.
Yeah, the poor editor just beeps, 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 beeps. But I was like, God bless everyone that ever does that. I have so much more respect for you, and I'm sorry if I've ever mic'd you up for a game.
Yeah, well, it's good content, but I would love to ask you about that, just being from Boston and your love for hockey. How did that influence your role now?
It was everything. I mean, my journey started before I can even remember. I was a rink rat growing up. My dad played hockey. He actually was a goalie at Boston College.
I know, I heard that. It's so awesome.
And then my brother, who is probably more influential to me while I was alive, he played hockey at Harvard. He was a captain there. So I was just literally raised in a rink, just running around, following him to all his games. And I think it just made me fall in love with the sport and appreciate everything about it more than just what happens on the ice and the analytics, but also getting to know him and all his friends and his teammates beyond the games. It made me fall in love with everything, all the culture about hockey. So definitely my #1 sport.
Oh my gosh. And like the many journeys that kind of play into it, because I fell in love with hockey because it tied into like my chaotic background. I hate to label everything as instability, but as a military brat, it's very unstable. And you meet guys that take, you know, the USHL route or go to juniors in Canada, but they're not from Canada and have billiard families and all these things. So like what I liked when I first saw your content is that you started trying to play hockey at one point, and then you tried to put like your own spin on it. So talk to me a little about your personal hockey journey and how that changed out.
You know, I'm very self-aware. I knew my role, and I knew it was on the bench, on the team, and I was kind of the personality hire of the team. I think I only made my high school team because we literally didn't have enough girls for a full team. We literally were picking up girls.
That was me with tennis.
Yeah, we were picking up girls from the middle school to play on our high school varsity team because there weren't enough girls. But I wasn't the greatest, but I was like, I'm gonna cheer everyone on to be the greatest. I literally made bows for our hockey team. We definitely were the only girls that played hockey with bows in our hair. But yeah, I was pretty aware of that, and I knew to like, it was time to hang up the skates for me. I'll still skate every now and then, but growing up, it was so fun because my dad actually coached me back before like there was like nasty standouts that went club and all that, when it was just like little squirts and peewees. I still kind of kept up, and I had a lot of fun doing that, and it made like me and my dad's relationship so close because he coached me, and yeah, I think that made me fall in love with it even more. But I was a forward. I was really fast. I was like a chicken with my head cut off. I'd skate around, but I didn't know where I was supposed to be on the ice.
Yeah. And then speed never leaves you, so I'm sure if we threw you on skates right now, you would still
burn all of us.
Probably. Just a little dash.
There you go.
Don't ask me to stop.
Okay, well, actually, that's how I collected my first concussion playing
there you go.
Exactly. It was like, oh my gosh, the puck's coming at me. Wait, the net is right there, and then it was just like this fun collide. So yeah, we'll probably throw up footage eventually because I have zero
we each got
shame.
different skills, all right?
Yes.
It's all good. You can't stop and speed, you know, all the things.
All the things.
But I would love to know just a little bit about your BU journey, because you go there, you're the team manager, I believe, first of the men's ice hockey team at Boston University, and then you get to be the Rinkside reporter. So how did that come about?
So I became the manager because the assistant coach actually came from Harvard, and he had been my brother's coach at Harvard. He came over to BU, knew I wanted to do something in sports. They were looking for a new student manager, brought me in for an interview. I don't know how real the interview was because he literally knew me since I was like 12 years old. But I got the job, and it was the most incredible experience of my life. I transferred in, so I didn't really know anybody, and this was like pretty much my way of like joining a sorority, but it was the hockey team.
Very different.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess probably more like a fraternity than a sorority, but it was incredible. And within my first, I think, 3 weeks of working for the team, we actually went to Ireland for the Friendship 4 tournament. And I spent Thanksgiving there with the whole entire team. I didn't even like know any of their names, but I was like to my family, oh, sorry, I'm going to miss Thanksgiving this year. And I'm going to go with all these hockey players. And we're going to have dinner in the Titanic Museum. And we're going to go to Belfast and Dublin. And they were like, what? But it was absolutely incredible. And I met like the most incredible group of guys. And it's so fun now seeing so many of them are playing professionally, and some of them are even going into coaching. And it was like such a unique college experience, but I'm so glad it happened the way that it did. It was awesome.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so sick. But to add to like the Rinkside portion of it, because I feel like now there's a little bit more creativity to Rinkside, and like you do have the content creator aspect to things, but like what's your preparation like? Because people don't realize there's a lot going on when you are doing Rinkside reporting.
A lot, and I think the most underrated aspect is how on your toes you have to be.
Yeah.
I feel like going into it, I didn't realize, you know, you're making your outline, you know what's going on with the game, but you don't know what's gonna happen in that specific game. When you're going to have those hits, and you're going to have those interviews with players and coaches, and as you're walking from the media box down to do the interview, someone could score and everything changes, and your player changes, and your questions change, and the whole entire game narration changes. So you have to be really on your toes, but just like knowing what's going on and being aware of it, and then being like, oh, we got to pivot, and being okay with that.
Yeah.
I always have like a batch of backup if I forget everything I'm saying, questions, but yeah, the preparation, just like stay on it, know what's going on, be obsessed with it.
That right there, being obsessed with it. I think that helps you with pivoting, because then sometimes you just have the ability to be like, I'm going to take it in this direction because you know this person or you know this player, or like, you know, there's a storyline that can play into that moment until you can kind of get a grasp on the reins, I would guess. Yeah.
And I've seen firsthand now, it doesn't matter if you're in college or if you're at the premier NHL hockey game, the reporters are still dealing with the same thing, where the player they wanted to interview, maybe they get hurt, maybe they need to go get stitches in between the periods, and then they have to totally pivot and ask all new questions for a new player, and you got to know what you're doing. So the background research beforehand and the preparation is just another level.
Yeah, it is great for you though to have an eye now for what that role is, and really the intricacies of it, because I think a lot of people will look on social media and they'll see, oh, it's so, you know, glam and glitz and all things, but like, you know, the hard work, you know, the grittiness that it takes really to have that role and to be prepared. But I'd love to ask you a little bit more about just the BU hockey experience, because I went to BC, but I couldn't go to a ton of the cool like beanpot games at TD because I was playing in my own game. So do you have a standout memory from your time with the BU team?
Oh my gosh, so many. Specifically with the beanpot, something that's super funny that I know everyone around here is going to love was one of our years there. We make it to the finals, it's overtime, it's the juiciest thing ever, and we weren't winning for BU. I think we went on like the longest streak of not winning a beanpot in a while. And we were in overtime, and we get called on a trip. Jordan Harris, the biggest dive I've ever seen in my life for Northeastern. He legit is like Michael Phelps out there. We get called for a trip, and this guy, I was like, this was the dream week. Everything was going perfect. I was finally going to get to celebrate a beanpot, and this guy legit decides to dive into an Olympic swimming pool, and then they score, and Northeastern wins like their 300th beanpot in the last 3 years. But yeah, Jordan Harris was like #1 on my hit list, and then I met him, and I'm obsessed with him, and now I'm like really good friends with him, and I'm so pumped that he's gonna be a Boston Bruin, and I'm like, take your swimming skills, we can use them on the Bruins. I'm rooting for you.
They're acceptable now.
Yeah.
Of all the things.
Now I'm rooting for them.
Wait, so I have to ask from a human perspective, because like with your passion behind hockey, is there a moment where you feel like you have to like separate cheering in the moment for something, or just like being so ecstatic about something, but like you have to be in reporter mode? Because I have been challenged emotionally during playoffs, because like I'm from Tampa Bay, and like sitting in some of those situations and people next to me, I'm like, do not react, and I want them to turn away from me so I can lose my mind.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's like almost like training you have to go through. And now when I'm not working and I'm just like at one of my boyfriend's games, I forget that I like can cheer when he scores. I'm like, oh my God, this is so fun.
You're like in broadcast mode and you're like, wait a second.
Yeah, exactly. It literally requires training to see the craziest play happen and just be like, and go.
Poker face, I love that. But what you've really been able to take advantage of is social media. And I know this is something that a lot of maybe even young women would love to find a place in sports media for in using social media. So how have you used that as a tool to help you get to where you are now?
It's really been everything for me, and it's so crazy because I feel like there was no blueprint for what I wanted to do. Actually, when I was at BU working for the hockey team, whenever I had free time, I'd just make like hype videos for them because nobody was doing that at the time. And I remember handing it over to our creative director and being like, I make these really cool hype videos. Do you want to do anything with them? And he's like, yeah, we'll post them on the Instagram. And I was like, you're gonna post my videos on the BU hockey Instagram? Like what? And we did it so frequently that they ended up hiring a video producer, which they had never had before. And I remember also, this was back in, it must have been 2020, I really wanted to make the team a TikTok account because they didn't have one. And my boss at the time was like, we don't know the future of TikTok. We're not gonna waste time and resources on TikTok. Fast forward to today, of course they have a TikTok account, right? And it's literally my whole career, and I'm so thankful for it. And it's been so amazing to just kind of like do trial and error with social media. And now I really post all of my content primarily goes on social media. And I feel so thankful that it has found an audience and grown the way that it's grown, especially with TikTok, because I think there's a lot of people out there that wouldn't have found me organically if I didn't just pop up on their For You page.
Yeah, and I think the TikTok part is like so strong, but kind of sticking with that. When I first got here, weirdly enough, I got a chance to talk at BC to a class, and they were just kind of asking for advice, and I was like, I think take advantage of social media. You have a lot of networks that are kind of trying to find that balance between digital and linear, and like to see the confidence of somebody creating their identity on social media, I think is huge. That can actually play into your resume these days. So like, what advice would you have? Because some of the questions that I got in return was just kind of like, you know, what if it's weird, or what if it's awkward, or what if I'm not doing it right? And like, I know when I did it, I'm so corny for like words. Like I'll do things to consider to do hockey breakdowns, but it's consider with a K. And I was like, you have to just lean into it because you don't know what's gonna pick up. So how did you know what to lean into? Or like, how do you find that confidence to just be like, I'm having fun with this and whatever happens, happens?
I love that you said that because it is exactly that. It's trial and error and being willing to take risks that maybe they feel uncomfortable, but that might be what hits the best. And really analyzing what's doing well and what's not. The things that I thought would do so well in the beginning might not have panned out. And then something that I'm like, I don't even know if I want to post this. I think it's going to stay in the drafts I throw up. That could be what goes viral. So I think it's really sitting and analyzing what people are liking and building off of that. I've done that for so much content, and that's like what I'm doing now is not what I envisioned I'd be doing 3 years ago. And I just keep taking note of what I feel like is doing well and catching people's attention and doing that. And my biggest advice would be for anybody, like if there's a girl out there who's in high school and she knows she wants to be one of you two one day, I'm like, take your phone out, walk to the nearest sporting event. It doesn't matter if it's flag football with 6-year-olds, like you can do a hit on it, set your phone up and just talk, get used to it. Every single reporter out there has their first hit that they ever did, and they're like, what the heck?
Oh my gosh, do I remember it?
You just threw me back, and I got a little
literally
legit goosebumps because I was like, woo.
But we all do it, and we all grow from it, and it's really a tremendous part of learning how to become a broadcaster in sports. But nowadays, so many people have access to phones, and you can just do it yourself. Teach yourself how to edit. Watch YouTube University is the greatest school that exists for this career.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I love that advice, and I think something that has helped me get over the like, oh, should I post this, should I not post this, especially when I was in college and just doing interviews DIY, right? Was, okay, if I posted this, or if my team sat in a film session and watched this on the big screen, like, would it come across as me? Like, just be yourself, right? And I think that's something that I absolutely love that is just so shown through your videos. But I'd love to ask you about your show called Out of His League. Where did this come up with?
It was just like, everybody asked me that, and I'm like, there wasn't one day that I had this light bulb moment, but fully transparently, I was doing content for a year at Barstool Sports about college advice. And I got out of college and realized really quickly, once you get out of college, you don't care about it the way that you did when you were in it. Like, I was like, maybe I shouldn't be giving like advice for things to bring to math class anymore. And I really got like the best advice I've ever gotten, that the most successful people in content make content about things that they're genuinely interested in. And I think with my background at BU, then I went to NBC Sports for a bit and Boston 25 Sports. I actually also got hired by Nessun Never came in for my first day of work because COVID hit, but I was an employee. I think I had an employee number for a day, but then COVID hit and I didn't step in my first day.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. But I think just through that and then my personal life growing up with my brother playing hockey, I just met so many incredible women that have game days. And there's a lot of shows out there that will highlight the women working in sports.
Yes.
And a lot that will highlight the athletes. But I'm like, there's so many cool wives of athletes and girlfriends of athletes and mothers and cheerleaders that don't get this attention. That I was like, I don't need to do this box that everybody else is doing. Any girl that has a game day has a story to tell that's unique, that will show the next generation, oh, there is a spot where I can do this. There's something I can do here, because I think today there's more opportunities to be a female involved with a game day than there ever has been before. In 5 years from now, that will continue to be the case, and there'll be a job that doesn't exist right now. So that's really what I wanted to do with my show, is just encapsulate what's being done right now and show the next generation, hey, this could be your life.
Yeah, and I think that you do a great job of doing it, because for one, the humorous level to it, it breaks the ice. Because I think when we look at something, we're so quick to just put a rigidness to it. Like, we glorify being in front of the camera, and while it's fantastic, like, you can still have such a foothold in sports and not be in front of the camera. And it's just as important. Like, we've got our Queen Jenny who pops up in our ear right now, and like, it's just as helpful because they're the visionaries. So I love that you highlight all of these different things. Now, it's probably the worst question to ask a host, but like, one of your favorite episodes, because the humorous element to it is just fantastic. Like, when I first found your TikTok, I was crying laughing. Like, the conversations you have with your boyfriend, in all seriousness, it's how I tortured my brother. I used to wear like soccer t-shirts. It's like, I don't suck up air on the sidelines because I played soccer and he played football. And he shredded all my t-shirts, but like, sometimes you just have to have that fun with it in order to highlight it even better.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm never gonna say that I have a favorite, because they're all my favorites for different reasons, but I think it's really cool if you watch the progression from one to the other, because my first one was with Amina Smith, who was with NBC Sports and now is with ESPN, and I really just like fit the mold of her and what I felt like a studio interview would feel like, and like matched her vibe. And with it, I've definitely become more myself, but also I kind of try to emulate my guest's life. So if you go from hers, it feels very in the studio, more professional, and then you fast forward to at a Bruins game with Mason Lori's sister Zoe, and we're just hamming it up, we're having a drink, we're joking around, and that's what it feels like to be a sister at your brother's game. So I think it's again been a learning experience of seeing what works, and I'm just like, naturally, I can't say a sentence without like self-deprecation or cracking a joke, and I'm like, I need to show that me, and I don't think that's really common out there with like typical podcasts or docu-series hosts. So it's just been being me, and again, being true to who you are, and I think that's helped a lot, and also just getting more confident in who I am.
Big time.
I'd love to know, like, because you've interviewed women across even different sports, covering different sports and different roles within sports, and they're on the media side or the family side, what similarities maybe have you seen between the women of these game days that you're highlighting?
Everybody wants to bring attention to the fact that athletes are people and they are humans first, and even though you as a fan might only see them when you put their uniform on, they have a whole different life that they live 18 hours of the day, every single day. They have people around them, family around them. They're going through their own stuff the way that you're going through your own stuff. They're going through their own stuff too. And maybe they didn't have the best game day today, but they might have had the hardest personal day in their life, off camera, off the ice, and that's widespread through everybody. Is we need to rehumanize these players, because it's so easy to just rip them apart online. But if you saw them at a cafe and they're sitting by themselves and they're looking upset, like, would you say what you're about to say right now? And the answer is always no. So I think that's also something I try to do with my content, especially when I'm doing interviews with wives and girlfriends of players and family members of players, is really show, like, when you attack them, this is who you're attacking. These perfect, wonderful, nice, kind women that are supporting them and these athletes. So yeah, that's like the #1 theme, is rehumanizing the players.
That's such a great way to put that, because it's true. Like, the wives have to shoulder the emotions when they get home and kind of help them compartmentalize that was
And
your
sometimes
game.
they're the ones getting like, your husband played like crap today. And
Do
she's like,
dinner.
what do you want me to do about it?
Right. I'm not training with
I
him.
didn't even see him today.
Yep. And then like for siblings, you know, I actually felt that hand in hand with my brother as he was going through his career. And it was just like, you feel every emotion that they're going through, and you don't particularly always know the right thing to say or do. And not that you have to, but it's just like, it's tough. So that is a great thing to be able to highlight. But then like on the fun part of it. So you got a chance to hang out with Zoe Lorai.
Oh, yeah.
And to be, because you've been a sister for a hockey player and also a daughter for a hockey player. So what was that like for you experience-wise?
Oh my God, it was so fun. And it actually came about the funniest way. So Mason Lorai played at Ohio State with my boyfriend Jake, and he was a Bruins prospect, and my boyfriend Jake trains here in the summer even though he wasn't with the Bruins. And somebody in the organization saw Jake and was like, hey, why isn't Mason here yet for summer training? He's like, I don't know. He's like, call Mason, tell him to get here. He calls Mason, Bruins are like, Mason, you gotta get here. He's like, I don't have anywhere to live. We just happen to have a spare room in my house. So Mason actually spent the summer at my family house so he could train here, coming into his first full season with the Bruins. And that just made us like so close. And I think in juniors, the term's billet brother. So we started calling him our billet brother. And my parents loved it because we're like bringing hockey back into the family again. And now he's like a brother to us. But then getting to meet his sister, and we just like clicked like that so fast. And she's awesome, and she's a hockey player too, so she gets it, and she's still in college. And she's like, everyone thinks he's like so cool now. And I'm like, he's literally a loser. Like, he's a loser. And I'm like, this is so good. Like, her humbling him again, because he's having the time of his life right now. Like, this is great. And that was an absolute blast. And his mom too. She's a hoot. She was like reading all the negative things on Twitter, and she's like, I wanted to respond back and be like, shut up.
Don't talk about my kid that way.
Yeah, I low-key love when the parents, like, they tap into
I
Twitter.
wish we could
like
make a social media for parents to post on.
Hey, those can get intense fast, so don't egg anyone on, okay?
That's true.
I've seen those go haywire.
We should do better with that.
But I love getting to hear just the behind the scenes and really like the build up to those cool productions that you have with your show. But I'd love to know a little bit more about that. What does the production look like for when you film one of those?
Have you ever seen the Taylor Swift clip where she's like, I'd love to have a party for the songwriters of this album? Because it would just be me. No, I always bring on a videographer because I can't really shoot it and be in it myself since it's docu-series style. And Tessa McAndrews has done a lot with me, and she's incredible, and Jack Skelly as well. They've been like my most two prominent videographers, and I love them so much. But then editing, production, posting on social media, getting the guests, reaching out to networks, that's all me. So, yeah, it's a lot, but I love it so much, and I'm so thankful that like I know how to do all of that, and that's something that I would encourage younger people to do is like, if you think you know your job, that's great. Learn all the other 5 parts of that job, because now that I know the production side, I'm like, every time a cameraman does anything for me, I'm like, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. I would die for you. And you appreciate it so much more when you know how much work goes into everything else behind the scenes. But I do hope one day I can scale it and get a bigger team behind me, because I definitely have like lost some opportunities just because one person can only do so much. But I do as much as I can by myself.
Yeah, and considering how you customize it to whomever you're interviewing and trying to emulate the atmosphere as well as like their personality, like those were a lot of moving pieces that people don't even realize the time it takes to place into all of it. Another really cool thing that you got to do, 4 Nations. I mean, we have to talk about the entire
Thank
approach
God.
to
I've been on the edge
it.
of my seat. This is
like,
my whole personality.
I mean, how does it not become it though? The world talking about it finally, for one, but then like, you know, like you said, you are able to bring like the wives and family members into it, as well as like get fun coverage and just like put your own personality and spin on it. So what was the entire approach to like 4 Nations?
Just a random Tuesday, I got an email. I thought it was spam. I was like, someone's gonna ask for my credit card information. I had to like double check that it was real. I'm like, she does work there. I found her LinkedIn, just asking me to do content for 4 Nations, specifically an episode highlighting Emily Kaplan, which will be out very soon.
So sick.
She's incredible. And we did a day in the life with her. And then I was just like, hey, we're gonna have so many incredible women at our disposal at this event. Would you guys be open to doing more? part in addition to this episode with Emily? And they were like, absolutely, what do you have in mind? So I pitched kind of these mini episodes of Out of His League, which were Rinkside interviews with partners of the players on those teams. And every period I sat down with one of them and we just watched the game and did an interview as we were watching the game. And I think it was the perfect example of what I've been trying to do in rehumanizing the players.
Yep.
It's seeing them, seeing how into it they are, how nervous they are. I've like never met this girl and she's Lauren McDavid's like squeezing my hand. I'm like, I got you, you're my best friend, we're gonna get through this. And it was the experience of a lifetime. The women I got to meet, the people I got to work with behind the scenes at ESPN, everyone at Four Nations, it was absolutely incredible, and it ended up being such a successful event for the league, and I'm so thankful I was a part of it, and I'm like, I will never top that day, ever in my life.
Because I think it showed you that like your vision is so possible, and like you did that in a scope of Four Nations. And not to say that Four Nations is this, right? But like it just shows like you can take your visuality and like make it so much more and expand upon it. And you have a whole hockey season coming up that I hope we get more of that.
Thank you.
And Wag Jacket Insight.
So yeah.
No, I absolutely love that. And it's
Insight.
cool just to see your creativeness like shine through, because you had to pitch that idea, right?
Yeah.
When you look back at your life, or maybe even it was sooner towards your time at BU, was there something like, man, I could see myself slowly starting to pick up the tools and the skills, and maybe that, oh, I see that in her, that creativeness to be able to really produce and host what you're doing?
Thank you so much. That's so nice. First of all,
it's a lot,
it is. I mean, just huge storytelling, like
Yeah.
your idea for it. Like somebody's got to come up with it. So it's really awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I just feel like it just takes like a little bit of self-encouragement and then a little bit of delusion. And that's like the recipe to
I do
me.
my best work delusional.
Yeah,
honestly.
and I've learned to not tell anybody my ideas because I'm like, they're gonna think I'm crazy. Because if 2 years ago I was like, oh, by the way, I'm gonna be on the glass at Four Nations with some of the best players in the world's families, interviewing them, and it's going on ESPN. I literally would have been like, Kat, like, girl.
No, but I love that.
Wake
because
up.
when you put it on paper like that, you think about all the reasons why you couldn't do it.
Right.
Right? So maybe when you were leading up to that, what gave you that, like, yeah, I'm going to pitch this idea?
Oof. Oh my God, I have no idea. They came into my email, which I'm so thankful for, and there's been plenty of times I've reached out to guests that I'm like, I have no business getting this guest, and then they respond and they're like, okay, would love to. So I don't know, just belief. And again, like this started nowhere. My whole content journey started in my basement, no credentials, no equipment. I was just like, let's just try. It's my dream. I'm gonna regret it the rest of my life if I don't just try it. And then one day I got onto ESPN, and one day I got into Nessun. And
another day you got onto Nessun.
Another day you got onto Nessun.
Yes.
In a larger form. No, I think that you put it in a great way. I mean, basically to just like encompass all of it, you've allowed your passion to drive you to take risk. And like maybe you haven't given yourself, like I like to say, like I'm better when I don't give myself time to overthink a situation because I'm not allowing myself to talk myself out of it. I'm just going for it. And I think that's also what translates in your work is like, it's inspiring, honestly.
Thank you.
Because I think we all second guess, like, are people gonna care or like this? And we make it about us in that moment versus like, no, I just wanna connect people to content. And so that bridge can become kind of difficult. So like, how does that continue to inspire you on a day-to-day basis? Because when you have to be so creative, like people don't realize the mental element that does go into all of that. You're talking yourself up and you're talking yourself through day in and day out.
I learned that statistically women are less likely to start something than men because we want it to be perfect before we start versus men are more okay with it not being perfect, that they're just like, I'll go and figure it out. And women want it to be so perfect before we ever let the universe see because we're more aware of other people's eyes and opinions and objections, that I think I just got to a point of like, forget it. I don't care. That's me I'm being better, guys. I'm learning, the Bostonian in me. Forget it. I don't care about their opinions. I'm just going to do it. And I guarantee you there's people who in the beginning were like, she is crazy. I don't know who she thinks she is. And now I'm just like, hey guys.
It's me.
But I still have that doubt sometimes. And sometimes I'm like, is this going to work? And it's really just remembering like the small messages that I get from somebody that it took them 20 seconds to write, but it'll be like, I look up to you so much. That's why I keep going. And I have a whole message photo album in my phone of positive messages that I've gotten from complete strangers, and that's really what keeps me going. Is I'm like, wow, I really am inspiring younger girls, and I wish like one day like I'm gonna meet Erin Andrews, I'm gonna be like, you did this for me, and now I'm trying to do this for other people. Not that I'm anywhere near Erin Andrews, let me make that abundantly clear, but all it takes is one person to inspire you, and all of the women that I'm getting to have on my show, and also all of the shows that I'm getting to go on to share this story, you guys are inspiring the next generation of women, and I love that so much. And I just want everyone to know, like, you deserve seats at the table, and you deserve to take up space and share your stories, even if you feel like it's in a man's world. One day it's going to be a woman's world.
Well,
I think it is today.
I think so much from this. I think you think that you're speaking to different people, but like, I don't know, Casey. I feel like I just need to go make a few social media videos, and
Absolutely.
I want to
Post it.
create an album. Seriously, like, you totally spoken to me today, and I'm so excited to point people to you and to have you on this show. Is such an honor and so fun. You got I wish we did a full fit.
I know, we didn't do the
OOTGs. I need to get that
go.
trademark.
I'm trying to like slide out of the way.
Games.
It is fantastic.
Oh,
though.
yeah, we love it.
Belt.
So
Thank you.
good.
Thank you. Capris are back. If you didn't hear.
Honestly, and the fact that you're wearing them so well.
Thank you. If you ever
I'm
need
too
outfit
short or
inspiration for
something.
any games, I got you. Also, Red Sox winners by miles with their new City Connects. Is that what it is?
yeah,
The Fenway jerseys, winners by
green.
far.
Well, hey, you
Good
got
job,
sports,
Boston Red
fashion,
Sox.
media, all of it covered. Seriously, thank you so much for coming on the show. We were so happy to have you.
Thank you so much. This was a blast. Thank
was
you.
so
I love
great.
this show. Everybody follow, subscribe, watch them. They're the best.
Woo, and when we come back, we'll get you caught up on all things WNBA All-Star Game, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.